Hi there, I'm Lyndon Thorpe, and this is Peace and Wealth. We're here every weekend, and we talk about peace and wealth. And Marleen is here. We haven't seen you for a while, Marleen. Here she is. Let me bring her onto the stage. Good morning. Good evening. Good
Well,
evening.
good evening, good morning. How are you
How are
today?
you?
I am doing well.
Oh,
I am doing well.
good.
Yes.
Yes, you look well. And yeah, I'm fine. I'm a bit sleepy. But it's very early. Well, quite early here, so
Yeah, for
you know.
you. This is your thing. This is what you do. I mean, you inspire me. Like I told you in our last conversation, the fact that you do 8 of these things per week. Oh my God. Kudos to you. Not me.
Thank you. Oh, that's so nice. Well, yeah, I don't know. I'm a performer, I think, and I love it. And but most of all, I just love talking to people, and
Yeah.
getting them to smile and tell me what they're feeling, that kind of thing. So yeah, I love it. It's great. Anyway, it's so good that we can do this. So you are there in the States, I'm in Japan, and you're just about to go to bed. No, you're not. You're just about to start your Sabbath, and I'm just getting up. So it's
No,
amazing,
actually,
isn't it?
I'm about to end my Sabbath because it's
Oh,
Saturday.
no,
Yeah.
you're going to end your
My
Sabbath.
Sabbath is
That's right.
about to end here, and I'm gonna go watch a little bit of TV or read a book before I go to bed because it is so funny. I know this week I noticed you was talking about boundaries, but for me this week after my birthday, my lovely birthday week that I had last week, we came home Sunday after all of the activities to no AC in the house. And
Oh,
yeah, and it's been well, today is still 7 days because apparently it's a major thing. It's not something simple, and whatever parts they need, it's on back order. And
oh,
but but
mm,
as we talk about boundaries, it's the summertime.
yeah.
It was blazing hot last week. For this week, while we were without AC, it's been in the 80s, in the 70s. So it's been a bit cool. The first
Mm,
night I knew it was rough for us, but it's cool. So look at God working
good.
things out for us. So we're not sweltering. We're not
Oh,
sweltering,
that's good.
and it's
Well,
okay.
well, we are. Gosh, it's very hot
Oh,
here. Yeah. Even at this time in the morning, it's 31 centigrade. So
whoa.
yeah, and it can get up to 40 here.
Oh my
And
goodness. See,
yeah.
because let me see. I think we were in the over 100 degrees, but last week, but now we're in like the 70s and 80s. So
Oh, that's
it's not
amazing,
as
isn't it?
bad.
That
Yeah.
contrast. It's
So I'm not
real
totally
climate
not
change
complaining.
stuff going on.
No, work things
Great.
out.
Well, I'm so glad, but I'm sweltering.
And look,
No, it's
I would
okay.
offer you a fan that I have here.
Ah, you
I
got
would
a fan.
offer you my fan. Yes.
Ah, well, I've got a desk fan here too, which is blowing beautifully. So there we are.
Oh, mine's is on also. So if
Oh,
you hear that in the background, it's my fan. Plus, I have to
me
apologize. I think
too.
I just heard the guy doing our lawn, so you might
Oh,
hear the
oh,
background noise also.
I can't hear it. It's fine.
Okay, good,
Yeah.
good. That's perfect.
Anyway, so boundaries. Yeah, boundaries have been important this week. And this week for me, I've been talking a lot about direct experience
Yes.
because what I'm finding is that people are, if they're really operating from this mind, the limited mind, limited capacity mind, if you like,
Mhm.
um, brilliant but limited, then they start to look through filters. They're seeing everything through filters, and so nothing is
Yeah.
direct experience. Do you know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I've been trying to get people to come down away from those filters and really start to, experience the sunshine on their face, or, the taste of their food or whatever. And I really do think I have very strict boundaries about that kind of thing. When I'm eating, I'm eating. When I'm drinking,
Yes.
I'm drinking. So I don't read or anything when I'm eating. I just really enjoy that food and the taste and the smell and the texture. And so those little islands of direct experience during a busy kind of screen day for me are essential, So,
I
um,
love that you use that experience, that you use that for your direct experience with boundaries, because we are just so busy. Because I don't know if you remember, there was a conversation we had about this where it became normal for me to eat at my desk, continue working while I, in corporate. While I was working, I would just go to the cafeteria. I would purchase, a little snack or something to eat, and I would come right back to my desk, and I would just start working, and I am eating. And just like what you're saying, I observed a young lady, one of my coworkers, who took the time, just like you said. Of course, we have, chairs, tables, and chairs in the cafeteria. She would get her lunch, and she would sit in the cafeteria, and she would eat her lunch. Another young lady in the cafeteria having her lunch, and she has her little iPad, and she would look at a movie. And I looked at that, and I was like, gosh, I should be doing that. I need to take that time to just move away from my desk, or even if I'm going back to my desk, to sit and eat. And like you said, to enjoy, savor the food, and not look at the spreadsheet, not look at the miles of emails, not going through emails, checking stuff. But something as simple as that if we just take the time to just stop and start there, like you said, it makes a huge difference, because
yeah,
we get so busy that we don't even think about that. So I'm so glad that you touched on it, because it feels like, for me, I think sometimes we respond to everything, as though it's an emergency. So when we live in a constant state of urgency, then we lose our ability to respond intentionally, which is what you were just referring to. So because everything is urgent, like me, whatever project I'm working on, I have to go back to my desk. I know I have to eat something. I would take back to my desk to continue, because we're living in that constant state of urgency. So we're losing that ability, like you said, to respond intentionally, where you sit and you enjoy your food, even if it's 10, 15 minutes. Take that time, move yourself away from whatever you're working on, get out of that environment, because what she does, she comes out of her office, she comes into the cafeteria, and she enjoys her food. And I always love that about her, because anytime I go in the cafeteria, there she is eating. And it's something, like I said, something simple like that, where you create that intentional boundary, that direct boundary. This is where it starts. And it's those little things that we take for granted, and we don't even think about how important that is. So I'm really glad that you raised that, because it took me, I'm not gonna lie, it took me a long time to realize how important it is to enjoy a lunch break.
And that's the kind of pressure that companies put on people, with Lodestone, with the work we're doing, we're trying to take these ideas into companies and, really encourage people to have direct experience. And in fact, Lodestone is direct experience. It's 30 minutes where you can't do anything except listen to me guiding you into a mindful state. And it's amazing how it changes. But the thing is, in a company, if everybody is taking time to eat properly and have direct experience of all those natural things, then that ripples through the whole structure of the company, doesn't it? And it means that the whole company culture changes because of that little 30-minute gap, Um, and for me this week, I've really been thinking about how important nourishment is, and of course, hydration, especially
Mhm.
when it's so hot here in Japan. We've got what's it called? Heat stroke happening all around. It's really a problem here for elderly people too. So you hear the sirens going all the time, and oh gosh, that's another heat stroke person. Um, so basically, yes, if we think of the body, all our lovely audience out there, LinkedIn members, YouTubers, think of the body as needing replenishing. So, if we drink water, we are 89% water, human
Yep.
beings. Yep, we are made up of water. So we're using that all the time. All of that essence, our essence is being expended in everything we do in our activities. So for me, drinking is I'm replacing the water. I mean, I'm losing. And if I don't do that and find the balance, then of course I'm going to get dehydrated. And that's
Stay
one
right.
of the
Got my
huge
water.
problems for people online, because they are exerting a lot of mind energy
Yes.
and visual acuity and so on. And you don't realize how much you're losing as you do that, not just your energy, but also, lots of fluid, lots of perspiration, perhaps, and you have to replenish that. So I talk a lot to people about nourishment, and the other big factor here is body chemistry. So, imagine that incredibly delicate balance each human being has of all the different hormones and pheromones and all sorts of things that get out of balance if we're not replenishing them, or the substance of our body, with good food and good liquid. So it's very, when I ask people about what they feel about nutrition, they usually say, oh, well, I've got to really taste the food and I've got to really enjoy the food. Well, that's really true, but more than that, you are actually replacing parts of your body with that food.
It,
It's
it's vital. It's an important part of you sustaining, of sustainability for your life,
yes,
actually. Because,
yes,
like you said, I think, I think I read somewhere where it says you can go without solid food for about 3, 4 days, but water itself, you get dehydrated within 36 to 48 hours. And
yes, that's true.
that
Yeah,
that is something that, like you said, we don't take into consideration, because some of the effects you have of dehydration, which we're not looking at, you get it's dizziness, you break out in cold sweats, and you're
mm,
trying to figure out, well, what's going on. Of course, you've got the dry mouth, the throat, the itchy throat, but all of these things, we're not associating that with dehydration, but those are all the signs of dehydration. And all you really need, like you said, is to just replenish.
yeah,
Okay, take a sip, and we're not talking about the sweet, the sodas, and all of that. Just some nice, pure, clean water.
yeah,
Just
that's right.
just to get that nourishment, to get you back to where you really need to be, and that's all it takes. And that's another
Yeah,
challenge I know that a lot of people have. It's just drinking some water
yeah,
every single day, just making that decision to have at least 36 ounces of water every day. And we're talking about water. Like I said, I'm not talking about juices, I'm not talking about sodas, just
mm,
pure water,
yeah, yeah.
at least 36 ounces.
Yes. I mean, I have a drink constantly on my desk. I'm
Mhm.
sipping all day because I really know how important this is. But some people are so pulled out into their screens, into their scrolling, their devices, they forget to drink. And I can't imagine that really. No, because I've really focused on making sure, especially when I'm sitting at my computer, that I am well hydrated. You know, even in the winter, I think that is important.
But see, like you, I have mine. I keep it with me
Oh
on my
yeah,
desk.
you've got your
Everything, wherever I go, I take it with me. Even when I go to church, I have my order so I can sit on it. But
oh brilliant.
what you just thought, when you just talked about, made me think of again where we're creating boundaries and things that we're working through with.
Hmm,
When I get to my desk, it's not so
hmm.
much the order, but my distraction is once you get here and I start working on things, I forget. So I have learned after many incidents of burnt items, food in particular, burnt toast, burnt everything, from me saying, okay, I'll just put this here. I'll just come to my desk, work on this real quick and go back to it. So what I've learned to do now, when I come to my computer, if I'm cooking something, I set a timer. So the
Oh
timer
good.
goes off to
That's a
save
good idea.
me from burning up my food and my toast, because I am guilty of that. So guilty of that.
Oh.
Once I get to this and I start working, time just stands still for me. And then I look
Mm.
up and it's 30 minutes later, or I start I get the scent of something burning. And it's like, oh my God. And I'm running, to take care of it. But I am
Oh
definitely
yeah.
guilty of that. So that's my direct experience with that. The water, yes, I keep this with me on my desk because, like you said, I know we need to stay hydrated. And that was another thing that I had to learn about, because I would have the headaches and the dry mouth.
Oh
And I didn't
wow.
realize that was from being
Mm.
dehydrated. So I have my water. But one of the
Oh,
things that I'm
brilliant.
learning now is that once I get to my desk, I have set a timer. If I'm cooking or whatever I'm doing in the kitchen, a timer needs to be set. So
Yeah.
I can get that alarm to know that, hey, don't burn whatever you're doing, don't burn it. So
Good for you. We've got some really good comments here, Marlene. Can you see them? Our dear Chi is saying happy birthday, Marlene. So it's a belated
oh,
birthday
thank
wish
you.
from Ebi-Sheila. And be present when eating, remembering to set my boundaries. Good. Direct experience with Lodestone, and it can change the company culture. So she's really been
Absolutely.
listening to what and she's had heat stroke. Feels like death. Awful. Yeah. And Colleen Randolph is here.
Yes,
Thank you.
Carlene is my sorority sister.
Oh, really? Oh, welcome, Colleen. So,
Yeah, that's
so
my
lovely to
soror.
have you here.
Yeah.
Great.
But see,
So we've got.
I remember with the heat stroke, I didn't experience heat stroke myself, but I saw it with my dogs.
Oh,
And
ah,
just like Dichi said, it is an awful experience to watch,
mm,
especially with your dogs, where they just start shaking and you don't know what to do. Of course,
mm,
you've got to give them like the cold compress, but I have seen them because dogs, their paws, when you put them out on the ground, the heat rises, but they're not aware that it's just too hot for them. So they will continue
mm,
walking with you because they want to be out there with you. And that's
mm,
exactly what
mm.
happened to my little chihuahua. Bless her little heart. And I came home. No, by the time we got out, it wasn't even like 15 minutes into the walk because we were on the hot asphalt. Of course, I have tennis shoes on.
Oh,
She doesn't have anything on. And
oh,
and then she
mm,
just went off to the side, laid down. Next thing you know, she's just shaking. I was like, "Oh my
shaking.
God." Yeah, so we had to rush her to the emergency vet. But yeah, that's what they said was heat stroke. So of course they had to give her fluids and stuff. So yeah, it
Mm,
is an awful experience, not just for human beings, but for our animals as well. So we
mm.
have to be
Yes,
careful about that.
yes,
Very
yes.
careful.
Yes, I've had it a couple of times, and
Mm.
that was when I was younger. When I used to adore beach, living on the beach, and sunbathing, and really getting as much sun as I could, and getting a lovely tan. That used to be such the thing, many years ago. But once or twice I overdid it, and I ended up in the emergency room once
Oh my
because
goodness.
I was, burnt. My skin was burnt, but also I was shaking. I was, delirious. I was in a real state. So I've never done that again.
As we say, lesson learned, huh? Lesson learned.
That's right. When you're young, you do these things, don't you? But never again, never again. So
That's why
yeah,
I told you for my beach when I went last week for my birthday. I had it all planned last Thursday. I said I'm going to the beach, but I got
Ooh.
dressed, had my suntan screen, everything on, put my sunscreen on, hat, everything. And when I got out there, it was just so hot. I said, okay, this is not going to work. So I was out there for like less than an hour. I dipped my feet in the water and I said, okay, that's it. Let's get back to nice, cool surroundings because I mean, it was just blistering hot. I said, I don't know how these people are out here on the beach.
No.
Bless your hearts. I couldn't do it. Even getting into the water, you still felt warm.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I said, okay, no, I can't. So if I stayed for an hour on the beach, that was a lot. But I said,
Yeah.
no, can't do it. Gotta go.
It's wonderful, isn't it, to come back to a cool space? I mean, I think as we get older, that's very much the case too, isn't it? It's,
Absolutely.
We need that kind of cool security, really, I think, because heat is
Exactly.
not, our bodies can't deal with it as well as they could when we were younger. So, yeah.
That like you said, that's all part of us, honoring our boundaries. When you make that direct decision to be responsible for yourself, that's part of honoring your boundaries also. Make decisions from obligation instead of intention. And when you start doing that over time, that this will disconnect you from, doing things without thinking first. That's the
Yes.
way I look at it. I think for me, your boundaries is closely connected to your identity. So the more clearly you understand who you are, it will be easier to be for it becomes easier for you to recognize what aligns with your values and what doesn't. So this is for me, like you said, it's all part of being direct and understanding the importance of setting your boundaries. Just like something like we just discussed, something as simple as you taking that time to intentionally sit down and enjoy your lunch.
Yes. I mean, it's so simple, isn't it? That we have to say this is so important, isn't it? It's so significant that we have to say, remember to eat when you're eating. But people don't. They're trying to pack so much in to every waking moment, That desperation, that urgency that you mentioned, that is real. You're on the edge of burnout if you're feeling
It
that
definitely
kind
is.
of urgency all the time. And just pulling back from that edge, stepping back and breathing, as we always say, will make you realize how important. I think you mentioned responsibility for yourself. For me, that's my kind of moral pathway. I have to be responsible for me, everything, and we're so used to outsourcing, aren't we? We outsource health,
Absolutely.
we outsource education, we outsource our emotions often to a partner or something like that. Um, so, that ability to really take care of every aspect of your existence is I really feel my moral responsibility. And it's my happiness, because I think I've said this before, when you ask people if they're truly happy, they always or invariably say, oh, yes, I am, but there's always a condition. So yeah, I'm really, really happy because I've got a beautiful wife, I've got 3 kids, I've got a great car, a lovely job, I go on holiday 3 times a year. And then you say, but would you be happy without those things? And they say, no, I would not. So people don't know how to be happy within, happy
Right.
just for the sake of being happy for you, you know.
Yeah, it's like we had discussed previously. It's that definition, happiness is temporary, and we all know that because, again, like you said, it's associated with external things. What we have to find is that peace, that inner peace, and that joy, because that's something that you cannot take away. Once you have that, everything else falls into place, and that includes you,
Mm,
like you said, understanding who you are, because you have to know who you are in
yes.
order for you to create that peace. I think what's his name?
Yes.
Bruce Lee. I think someone I was looking at clip where someone asked him that simple question also about your peace. How do you find peace? He said, you don't get peace, you have to create peace. And I thought about that and I said, in essence, yes, you do. You can't just go find peace, you have to create it. Because again,
Mm,
like we said, this peace is something internal. Your peace and your joy, it's internal. Just like we
yes.
discussed, like you said, when you ask them about their happiness, they're associating a happiness with something or
Yes.
someone.
One. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
not permanent because it's gonna go away at some point, or something's gonna happen
Yes.
to disturb that happiness. And like you said, when it's gone, now what are you gonna do? You're
Yeah.
gonna be
So
sad.
that sense of loss,
Yeah.
that's I think, in the Buddhist pathway we talk about attachment to like everything. So everything
Mhm.
material, people are attached. So if you scratch someone's car, they have a heart attack. They're so angry because the car has become part of them. It is their status. Well, all of that attachment to external things is really dangerous because those things can disappear and people can disappear. So if we get attached to our partner, we may love them very deeply, but if we're too attached, what happens when they go, when they die or shift away from us? We have this tremendous sense of loss then.
Mhm. Mhm.
So yeah, Bruce Lee, I think I admire Bruce Lee, but I think I slightly disagree with him because I think this our inner peace that we talk
Mhm.
about on this session is always there. And all we have to do is rediscover it. So through, getting down through all those layers of conditioning and all that dependency on things material and things outside our
Yes.
inner life, then we can get back to that place where I believe we're intrinsically self-dependent.
Yes.
Um, and we can rediscover that. And it's such a good feeling to know. For example, in your business, in my business, I don't depend on anybody. I have a small team, but really, I depend only on me for everything in that
Mhm.
business. And even things like, all of these live sessions I do, it's me because I decided this is what I think is good to bring people to the front, to into the limelight, if you like, people who deserve it. And so, when I fall asleep at night, that is a fantastic feeling. Wow, I've got through the day, and I really depended only on me.
On you.
Um,
Yeah. I love
that's
that.
such a nice feeling. Ayn Rand, who is one of my heroes. I don't know if you've read. Have you read
Yes.
Atlas Shrugged? I love what she did. I love her writing. I
Yeah.
love her philosophy. I'm a great fan. Um, well, of course, she has all of this incredible stuff about self reliance, and she actually says it's my moral duty to be happy. I love that because
Yep.
I think it's true. I
Absolutely.
think
It definitely is. I agree 100%. I think that was the point that
yeah,
he was trying to make when he said that you have to create it, because it's something you can't depend on others for
no,
your peace. You can't
no,
look at external things, like you said, material things, to create that peace. This is something you have to do for yourself, and it
yeah,
has to be internal. It cannot be associated with a person, a thing, or an experience. It is something internal, just like where you teach with your lodestone on embodiment. Again, it's finding that inner peace, and that's, I know, with your sessions, that's what you do. But in order to get there, you have to get into yourself. You have to know thyself, like you said. First, know
Mm.
thyself. You
Know
have
that.
to get into
Yes.
these boundaries, and you have to honor these boundaries that you create so that you can have that internal peace. Because, like you said, like we just said, happiness, it's not there. It will not be there 100%. It is not something permanent, especially when you
Mhm.
place your happiness on things, people, or experiences. Because, I mean, like it or not, people will disappoint you.
Yes, that's right. That's
That
right.
goes
And
without saying. You
yeah,
will
and
be
that
disappointed.
it's a horrible feeling, that feeling of
Yes.
disappointment, isn't it? It's a very I can't really remember it very well because of my self-dependence, but I do recall that it's a very dark kind of spiritual feeling when you
Yeah, it's
feel disappointment in someone else.
yes, it's real. You get sad.
Mm,
You go through all the emotions. You get sad. You get angry. Then you're like, oh wow, I can't believe
mm,
this. You're in disbelief. It
yeah,
just like
yeah,
you said, just so many emotions you go
disbelief.
through with dealing with people when you depend on them. And a lot of
Mm,
times, remember we had spoken about this with boundaries, where people think, because you want to be independent, that it's being selfish. But no, that is not being selfish. That is you, like you said, protecting your peace, where
well said.
you have to
Yeah.
do it for yourself. When we say that we're independent, you're not depending on people to give you or for you to
Mhm.
get that peace. You're not depending on people for it.
No.
Yes, we need people to get the work done. AI, all of these
Yes,
are
we've
the
got a
elements.
team.
We need,
Yes,
we
yes,
need those,
yes.
and we work with them. But when it comes to our peace and our happiness, it's something that we create for ourselves. We cannot
Mm.
depend on people. 'Cause I have seen this actually happen. I think we talked about this earlier, where especially with older couples, because they know nothing else, but it's
Yes.
just the both of them. When one dies, the other one within days, and I've seen that happen. Actually, two elderly couples that I knew died within a week of each other.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, that's incredible.
and
Yeah, yeah.
and that's what is, and that again, like you said, it's that dependency. And she it was the husband. She was taking care of her husband, actually, and then
Mm.
they were in that independent living space, and then he passed away. And then they said she just laid there and just would not get up, wouldn't
Wow.
doesn't want to do anything. And like you said,
Mm.
within days, she was gone. So again,
Wow.
it's that whole dependency, where you're
Yes.
depending on your happiness and your peace in someone or something. When it's
Yeah.
gone, where do
Mm.
you go from here?
What do you
Because
do?
again,
Yeah.
yeah, because
Mm.
again too, like you said, that's about you not knowing who you are. So
Mm. That's
when that
right.
person is gone, when you have this experience has left you, you're like, well, okay, what do I do now?
Do
Because
now. Yeah, yeah.
you don't
Yeah,
have that
yeah,
independence in self, like you said, that peace
yeah.
that you
Yeah.
have to create for yourself, that you can continue on alone.
Yes.
There's nothing wrong with you being sad, grieving for that person as they're gone, but you still have to live. Life goes on. Life goes
Yes.
on. The question is
Life goes on.
the quality of life you're gonna have after this experience. It depends on you.
Yes.
It depends
Yes.
on you.
I mean, we're not saying that that other people can't make us happy. Of
No,
course,
absolutely.
we can share happiness with our close ones and friends and so on. But at the end of the day, the test, I think, is when you're alone. How do you
Yes.
feel that happiness is then? Do you feel
Yes.
that you know yourself well enough to say, well, I'm so fulfilled just being here with me now. That incredible sense of security within yourself. And
And
I
I
think we
know,
all need it.
yeah,
We
I
all need it.
personally know people who just cannot be by themselves. I love it I
Ah, me
absolutely
too.
love being by myself. I have no problem. I will go out and I will eat by myself, go to the movies by myself, and I am okay. I am
Mm,
comfortable with it. Why? Because you
mm.
interact with people wherever you go. You meet people. You don't
Yeah.
have to do it all alone, okay? You
Mm,
are going to meet people, but when you want to go out and do something and no one's around or you didn't think about inviting people, you can do it by yourself and you can still enjoy it. And that's me. And again,
mm.
too, like you said, that's about our independence, about knowing ourselves and being comfortable in our skin where we enjoy ourselves.
Yeah. Just
We enjoy
exactly as we are,
ourselves
you know.
together.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I think knowing yourself is a huge topic. And I think I'm finding that many people just have no idea how to start to get to know themselves. They've become so remote to themselves, through the screens, through the scrolling, and through generally being so concerned about outer appearances and role playing and all of this kind of thing. So knowing yourself, coming back, turning 180 degrees and coming back inside is what I show people how to do all the time. And it's amazing, Marlene, once they experience it, and this is where I go back to what I started with, direct experience. Once they experience going inside to their inner core and
Yeah.
just simply breathing and lengthening their spine and widening their shoulders, they say things like, gosh, I had no idea it could feel like that,
Mhm.
you know?
That's why I
So,
always start off my sessions. I always tell everyone, we need to take a deep breath. That's why my book is called Just Breathe, because something as simple as taking a deep breath
yeah.
changes the trajectory of where you're going or how you're feeling. But we're just, again, we're too busy. In that busyness of life, we forget the importance of just stopping and taking a breath. And I'm not talking about, inhaling the fresh air, going outside or anything like that. It's where you are. If you feel a bit anxious, stop and take a breath. Just breathe in, like I always said, simple box breathing. You breathe in for 4, you hold it for 4, and then you exhale for 4. And you continue doing that. And it's like you said, you feel it from the top of your head going all the way down to your toes. You can feel that difference from just
Mm,
taking a breath.
yes, yes. I mean, it's so simple. It's a tremendous resource that we have. And,
Exactly.
I always say to people, your breath doesn't cost anything. It's
No.
unconditional. It's there for you. We breathe 20 to 24,000 times every 24 hours for 60, 70, 80, 90 plus years, and it's there the whole time. So once you consciously breathe, even if it's only for 2 minutes, you change your body chemistry. The body chemistry changes. The first thing that happens is your blood pressure falls. Your
Yes.
pressure lowers. That's a physical change. So we're not talking about airy fairy changes here. We're talking about physical changes in the chemistry of your body by breathing and by getting rid of carbon dioxide on the exhale. That's so important. Um, so, yeah, we have everything we need, don't we? Right now and here, we have everything we need. If only we pause in our lives to touch base with ourselves, then there should be no problems in your life. It should be a plain, flowing state, like a wide green river. I always say I'm a wide green river, flowing over obstacles, around obstacles, but flowing. I'm always flowing.
It's like you said, it's us being directly responsible for ourselves. It's
Yeah,
easier said than done, we know, because we have changed, we follow so many external patterns that we tend to forget
yeah.
our own pattern. So we have to, like you said, we have to rediscover it but you have to make that, you have to take the first step. Okay. Just like how you asked about happiness, and they couldn't actually define happiness as something internal. It
Mm.
has to be associated with something or someone. Yeah,
Mm.
that is not what happiness is all about. That is not, like we said, this piece of wealth that we talk about. You can't get that from external things. It has to
No.
come in. And the only way you can do it is, like you said, it's a rediscovery. And I think for me personally, your rediscovery is not something that happens by happenstance. It happens literally every day. I say, once you wake up in the morning, it's a brand new day, it's a brand new start, it's a brand new rediscovery. So where are we
Yeah.
today? And you have to make that focus to self. It is not something that we just that just you say, okay, I did the discovery. I work with you worked with Linda, or I work with Marlene, and I'm good. I know where I'm at. No, it's a continuation. It's something that you actually have to practice every single day. Just like you said, just like breathing. Without breath, you're dead.
Yeah, that's right. 4 minutes and you're gone.
Yeah.
So
It,
it's
it,
that
it,
um, incredible opportunity to be human. I think is encapsulated in every single breath we take,
yes.
and we struggle into the world through the birth canal. You know, it's a struggle to become human. Then we have the ups and downs of life, but all the time, every single breath we take encapsulates the absolute joy of this incredible opportunity to be human and to absorb all the lessons that our lives can teach us. And
Absolutely.
I'm so sorry that people forget that. Well, that's because of the domination of this mind. The intellectual mind has a very short memory. It doesn't have a good memory at all. The body, on the other hand, well, we can't even remember what we need from the shop. We have to write a shopping list.
That's,
It's
that's
amazing,
me.
isn't it?
I
You
told
know,
you I have to set a timer now, because once I sit down and I've got something else that I'm doing, multitasking is not my forte. It's not for me. So now if I'm doing something, especially like you said, I'm at the computer, I have to set a timer so I will know. It's like,
yeah,
okay, oh, you got to go take care of that and stop
yeah,
what you're doing. So yeah,
yeah,
my mind
yeah,
just
yeah.
no.
Well,
I'm with you
that's
100%. If I don't write it down, you can forget about it. It's
Well,
just
that's a
that
great tip. I mean, I think using a timer is a great tip, and you can even get them on your devices. Now you don't need
oh, yeah, on
a
your
special.
phone.
Yeah,
You
on your phone, a
definitely just
little.
put it on your phone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
on your
yeah,
computer, because I didn't even realize that, but I have one on my computer also. It pops up.
yeah,
You put it in your calendar as a 30-minute reminder, and your
yeah,
calendar will pop up and tell you. It's like, okay, it's 30 minutes. Okay, oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. Do it. It's great, and I do that too, because of course we do get absorbed. I get really absorbed when I'm writing, for example,
Yes.
and as you mentioned earlier, I could be anywhere at any time of day when I'm really engaged. And that kind of engagement is fabulous. And I really, hope that people can become so engaged. But because we have a responsibility to our bodies and our spirits and the rest of us, not just this,
That's right.
then I do set a timer and I say, right, I'm going to write for the next hour. Set the timer goes, I breathe, and then I go back into life. So engagement is super, and we don't want to discourage you from that, but we do want you to remember, we want your bodies to remember. The body does remember, you see. It does remember that it's tired. It does remember that it's hungry, but we don't listen here.
I was just about to say it gives you reminders, but are we listening to these reminders?
Yeah.
Sometimes we listen when it's too late, but your
Yes.
body does give you reminders, and it's like you
Yes.
said, this all boils down to us just loving ourselves. Like I've said before, loving the senior and loving you.
Yeah.
That's all this boils down to.
Yeah.
Loving you.
That's lovely. Yes, it's true. Yeah. You have to love you. It all starts with everything starts with you. Struggling through the birth canal, you, there's nobody else there. Of course,
Oh,
mother is pushing and pushing, but you are leading the way. You want to be
exactly.
born, you know? And the same when we shift to the spiritual world, when we give up this mortal coil, we're alone. We're maybe half conscious. We are, intrinsically alone. So, wow, isn't it important to really know who we are during that interval between birth and
Absolutely.
death? It's imperative that we do. And I'm determined that more and more people will realize that through my work, definitely. And I know through your work, it's
Well, I
vital.
always compliment you. I always tell you, the work that you're doing is great. How you're bringing people back to center, to focus, to know who you are. So I love that you can still do that, and people are gravitating towards it, which is another thing. We don't want you to get to the point where you're so burnt out that there's nothing left. So the fact
Yeah.
that people are coming, saying they're realizing it and saying, "Hey, I need help," and they're using your program, and they're actually seeing results. Kudos to you. And I mean, it's the same here with me, where I come in, similar to what you're doing, me understanding your I am. I call it, living in your power, where you understand,
Yeah.
we go over our power framework. But again, this is something that has to start with you first. Okay. You have to make that decision. You have to realize that where you are, it is not functioning. You're not loving yourself, because it all comes down to that. What
Mm.
you're doing to yourself, that is not what love is for you. You don't love yourself. I
No,
was
you're abandoning yourself, really. Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. That's
Mm.
that's what it boils down to. You have to love yourself. Love, like I said, love the skin you're in. Appreciate you. You. You are the priority. And that's how we go and we find out I am. Like I said, we always ask about what's your why. You got to know your I am first. You got to know who you are first. So then that way you can know what your why is.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. Marlene, we're running over time here. I don't want to keep you because you want
I
to go to
I know we try
relax
so
now.
hard to stay within the time frame, but we'll do better.
We'll do better. We'll do better. But it's
Yes,
so great because we really inspire each other to go more deeply in, and I think both
absolutely.
passionately want to let people share this incredible experience of knowing yourself and being totally self-reliant. It's such a wonderful feeling of self-trust.
Yes,
Um,
yes. There's nothing
many
wrong.
people are
There's none.
struggling.
We have to understand that you as the person, there's nothing wrong with you the way you are. Yes,
Yeah.
there's always things that we can make changes to. But again, you have to accept yourself the way you are. Stop trying to be like everyone else. Stop trying to fix things. Stop looking at yourself through critical lenses. Appreciate
Mm,
where you are, understand who you are. And then
mm,
we realize it's like, okay, there are some things that we need to make changes. Let's go ahead and get those started. Let's do that rediscovery and redefine ourselves who we
yeah,
really are. When
yeah,
you keep criticizing or being critical of yourself, and when you're going, like you said, you're creating burnout for yourself, okay? That is not you loving
yeah.
yourself. That is not you knowing who you are.
No, that's so true. And that's a lovely, lovely finishing message for our lovely audiences out there. Thank you, Marlene, so much. It's always such a pleasure. And we'll go
Absolutely.
through the next couple of weeks, continuing on conversing about these things in our posts and comments and so on. And yeah, I really look forward to your newsletter each week. It's great because
Thank you. Thank you.
I know
Thank you.
we're so on the same page, really.
Yes,
And
I got some really positive feedback from this issue that I just posted. So it warms my heart to know that what I'm saying resonates with people. I really feel, especially in this time, and I always put that out there, especially in this time where we're finally realizing that burnout is not a merit badge. It is not. I
No.
think people are finally coming to that realization. So when I post these things about leadership, things that you need to do, I think I got a really great response from the mentorship one that I did before. But we have to realize over and over again, I say this over and over again, that burnout is not a badge. It's not a badge of recognition. It's not a
No.
badge of being a
No.
good leader. Absolutely not. That's a sign, like you just said, about you not being direct with yourself and you not loving who you are.
In a nutshell, that's it. And it's, some people never recover from burnout.
No.
I've got one or two clients, and they will never be the same. They're so scared of it happening again, because they didn't feel it creeping up. Then it suddenly attacks, and the nervous system just shuts down. And it's really, really difficult to recover from that. Very difficult. So please, everybody out there, please treasure yourself, cherish yourself, because you are precious, and we need your voice in the world, in the global community. We need everybody's voice. I always mention my Indigenous experiences with the Aboriginal leader, who, when I asked her, what is life, on Earth? What is it? She said, it's a huge tapestry. And every being, every species is a stitch in that tapestry. And some stitches are missing, some are vibrant, some are tiny, some are faded, but everybody's stitch matters. And I think that's so true. We need all of those voices.
Absolutely, you matter, because, like we said in our last discussion, you are unique, and there's a reason why you're unique. You are not like anyone else, and your fingerprint tells you that, shows you that you are unique. So so you matter. You absolutely matter, and your voice matters too.
Yes, so essentially,
absolutely.
So please don't burn out. Okay. Marleen, thanks so much. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks, and we'll see you on LinkedIn quite a lot in the meantime.
It's my pleasure. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Thanks, everybody, so much. Lovely to have such nice comments, and great to see Marleen in good fettle again. So join us every weekend. We're here at 6:30 p.m. EDT. That's 3:30 PDT, and it's the middle of the night BST. But don't worry, because we repost this live for the BST audience. So yes, please find peace and wealth inside. And if you haven't started back on the pathway to knowing yourself, give me a call. I will help guide you, or send me a DM on LinkedIn, and I can get you back on the pathway, and you'll very quickly discover it's downhill all the way back to you. You are the center of everything. Thank you so much. Enjoy your week ahead. Peace and wealth to everybody. And watch our posts. Marleen and I will be continuing on with these topics, and Ebi-Sheila too. We are all writing about the same kind of things. So check us out on LinkedIn, and you'll see it's easy to get back on the path to yourself. Thank you so much. Bye for now. See you next week.